Now, I know Ubisoft is a French company, so English isn't their first language, but usually when you spare someone, it means that you don't kill them. Blue Steel? Ferrari? Le Tigre? It's the same choice. The outcome is exactly the same, because it's not a real choice, dude. You can't make this up, dude. Ubisoft is so cooked. What's up, everyone? Big Dan here, and today we're going to be talking about player choice in Assassin's Creed Shadows, or rather the complete lack of meaningful choice in this game compared to its predecessors Odyssey and Valhalla. Now, typically when RPG players say that your choices don't matter in a video game, it usually means that your choices are kind of inconsequential in the long run, but usually those choices will still make some kind of minor differences in the dialogue, which characters live and die, those sorts of things. But in AC Shadows, the bar is even lower than this. When I say your choices don't matter in this game, I don't just mean that your choices lead to minor differences that don't make an impact in the long run. I mean that all of your choices lead to the exact same outcome. There will be spoilers in this video for AC Shadows, Valhalla, and Odyssey, so keep that in mind if you're concerned about that. So let's dive into this. There are 4 major decisions from the main story that I want to cover in this video, all of which run into the same problem of player choice having zero impact on the outcome of the quest. I've saved the most egregious example for last, so be sure to watch until the end of the video to see just how ridiculous this game gets. Let's start off with the decision of whether to kill or spare Ukita during the quest Spring and Fall. After cornering Ukita in the castle and defeating him in a boss fight, Nawe is given the choice to kill or spare him in the ensuing dialogue. Let's first take a look at the cutscene where you kill him.
My son, my life for his, in all my lives.
Now let's see what happens when we spare him instead.
Abandon your service to the Tatsu. Be a father to Hideye. I know the value of one.
If only Lord Hideyoshi will never forgive me. As long as I live, I am a danger to Hideye.
You're sure about this?
Tell Hideye. Tell him. The black earth glistens with the promise of dead leaves. Spring, fear not the fall.
So let me get this straight. If you kill the guy, he dies, but if you decide to spare him, you still kill him. Now, I know Ubisoft is a French company, so English isn't their first language, but usually when you spare someone, it means that you don't kill them. But apparently not in AC Shadows. So let's compare this with 2 similar scenarios from Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla. In AC Odyssey, after tracking down Nikolaos in Megaris, the player is presented with the choice to either spare his life or kill him as revenge for throwing you off a cliff when you were a child. In this case, if you spare him, he actually survives, and he will show up later in the game during Sparta's conquest of Boeotia. And if you talk to him during that questline and choose a specific dialogue option, then you will completely skip the boss fight with his adopted son Stentor. However, if you killed Nikolaos instead, then Stentor will challenge you to a 1v1 fight to the death. At the end of that fight, you also have the option to kill or spare Stentor. If you kill him, he's obviously out of the game for good, but if you spare him, he becomes a mercenary and gets added to the pool of mercenaries that can track you down whenever you get a bounty. Stentor and Nikolaos' fate also have an impact on the ending of the game and your options for available crewmates for ship combat. In In AC Valhalla, after defeating the bandit warlord Rued, the player is given the option to kill him or spare him and turn him over to Oswald for judgment. If you kill Rued, then Finir will become available to join your settlement and also join you on raids. However, if you spare Rued instead, then he crashes Oswald's wedding, Oswald defeats him in a 1v1 duel and asserts dominance, and Finir decides to remain in Oswald's court as he's been won over by his Christian Giga Chad energy.
With my duty here fulfilled, I now choose East Anglia. I fight for you, my king.
Rise, old friend. You're embarrassing me.
Be well, Finir. Your choice is a bold one.
But in AC Shadows, regardless of whether you choose to kill Ukita or spare him, Nawe just kills him anyway. And this is unfortunately not the only time this happens in the game. Let's take a look at another example, this time in the reverse direction. During the quest, The Wheel Unmasked, Nawe and Yasuke have to track down a target who turns out to be Nobunaga's sister, Lady Oichi. At the end of the mission, you have the option to spare her as Yasuke or attack her as Nawe. If you decide to spare Lady Oichi, then Nawe is initially mad, but ultimately accepts it. So let's see what happens if we decide to attack her instead.
I'm sorry! It's always like this. The poor pay for the crimes of the rich.
Now, let me.
Benzaiten, the Buddhist goddess of wealth, wisdom, and love. I have shown little wisdom, Yasuke.
Kuma, at least, will live.
So yeah, either way we get the exact same outcome. Lady Oichi is spared regardless of which choice you make. And by the way, the fat guy that Nawe stabs, he survives the attack. Because he's a quest giver, so he's got plot armor or some shit. But I did hear a thing one time that fat people have a higher likelihood of surviving a stabbing attempt, so I guess this is lore accurate. But regardless of whether you choose to spare or kill Lady Oichi, the outcome is exactly the same. Because it's not a real choice, dude! Even the codex entry on her is identical regardless of what you choose. After a heated dispute, Nawe and Yasuke agreed to spare her.
Are you sure about that?
Now, if you're a history nerd, you might argue that Ubisoft didn't give us the option to kill Lady Oichi because she's a real historical figure and she did not die in the IRL timeline during the timeline of this game. But Ubisoft still chose to write the story this way. They chose to make her a target, and they chose to give us this fake option to kill her to give us the illusion of player agency. These were all deliberate design choices. Did Yasuke also bang her in real life? Because he can choose to do that in the game.
This is BBC News.
There is actually one more fake kill or spare choice during Nawe's personal quest in the epilogue, but I think you get the point. We aren't really being given a choice here to kill or spare these characters. It's all smoke and mirrors. So let's move on and talk about a quest where you have to figure out the correct target to assassinate. During the tea ceremony quest, Nawe has to identify which of these high society ladies were a part of the group that killed her father. After immediately ruling out one of the women, she is left with two choices, Otama or Wakasa. Let's first see what happens when we choose the wrong woman.
You will see my true face when death finds you.
What are you doing? Stay away from me!
Why don't I feel any satisfaction? She wasn't the killer I was after. These letters confirm that. But she was as corrupt as a daimyo. Damn it! Wakasa tricked me. She said she'd be at Osaka Castle, So that's where I'll hunt her down.
So, okay, we end up killing the wrong target, so we have to go track down Wakasa inside a castle because she had time to retreat. So what happens if we actually confront her at the tea ceremony? Surely we'll have the option to kill her right then and there, right? Right?
You've been watching me with more than idle curiosity.
I meant no offense. I've never met a woman quite like you.
But we have met, haven't we? The night we left you bleeding in that field like a little red fox.
You will pay for the life you took.
We all pay for our actions, little fox. Leave Sakai while you can.
Does she think her threats will stop me? I will find her in Osaka and tear out her heart.
And then she just immediately disappears after the cutscene and teleports all the way to the castle. So we have to go kill her in the castle anyway. What the fuck is the point of having a confrontation if we don't actually have the confrontation? This is another fake choice that doesn't change the outcome at all, dude. Aside from killing an extra NPC who doesn't remain in the game afterwards anyway. Literally every choice in the game is like this. I just finished the main quest and the epilogue, and there wasn't a single choice in the game where we could actually steer the content in a different direction. If a character is supposed to die according to the narrative, they always die. If a character is supposed to live, they always survive. Nothing the player does in this game makes any difference at all. But let's move on to the most egregious example of fake player choice in AC Shadows. The quest where Nawe and Yasuke have to identify which character is trying to sabotage peace talks in the Yamato province. At the end of the mission, Yasuke has the option to accuse one of 3 characters of being the culprit. Here's what happens if we correctly identify the villain.
As the wisest in the room, you know being in service can be a burden, a disappointment, especially when the daimyo's promised funds are uncertain, forcing you to sell sacred relics. But with your rivals divided, you have the opportunity to manipulate to your advantage.
The giant has gone mad! I pose no threat! You lied to me!
He lied to us all!
The truth is an ugly thing. Cut them down where they stand. Start with the giant. Head in a sack.
Okay, cool. So we kill the target and save the province. But what happens if we didn't put the blame on Baldy?
A strong woman who leads, whose right is critiqued and doubted. A cause would unite your fractured clan. And what better cause than war against a rival?
I knew it. Listen to him. Lady Ayako has deceived us all.
Fool! Quick! Show your blade at the monk! There's a method to my tricks.
You lied to me!
He lied to us all!
Lord Nobunaga made a rare mistake in giving Yamato to you. Did his death bring you grief or relief?
Yasuke is right. The traitor Junke has deceived us all.
Fool! Quick! Show your blade at the monk! There's a method to my tricks.
You lied to me!
He lied to us all!
So even if you choose the wrong character, Yasuke just automatically attacks the monk anyway in some of the worst writing imaginable. Blue Steel? Ferrari Le Tigre? It's the same choice! By the way, that guy whispering to Yasuke, "There's a method to my tricks," he's literally a ghost. The character was dead the whole time in some sort of Sixth Sense M. Night Shyamalan bullshit. You can't make this shit up, dude. Ubisoft is so cooked. Imagine if this choice actually mattered and led to some sort of a different outcome. I wonder if there was another game in this franchise that took that approach. Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. During the Lincolnshire questline, Eivor has to cast the deciding vote for who will be the new Elderman of the Shire. One of the candidates, Bishop Hereford, is a member of the Order of the Ancients, aka the Bad Guys. If you vote for Hunwald or Alfgar, then the bishop immediately launches an attack on the assembly, forcing you to kill him. But if you vote for Hereford instead, then the assembly ends peacefully. And it's only later in the game that Ronvi notifies you that Hereford has made moves in Lincolnshire, so you have to go back to the region and assassinate him. You're still assaulting the same castle at the end of the day, but if you chose Hereford, then Ulfgar automatically takes over as Elderman after the assault. Whereas if you chose to install Hunwald at the initial vote, then he will remain as the Elderman. So how things play out and who ultimately rules Lincolnshire is in the hands of the player at the end of the day. While it's not the most earth-shattering decision, this choice actually changes the course of events. The same cannot be said about literally any choice in Assassin's Creed Shadows. My advice to Ubisoft, and really any studio that's going to make a choice-driven RPG, is this. If you're going to implement choices in such a half-assed and fake way, then don't bother doing it at all, because this shit is just pathetic and insulting. If you just want to make a linear narrative game, then just do that. Don't bother putting in fake choices to create the illusion of player choice. The newer Assassin's Creed games like Odyssey and Valhalla didn't have the craziest choices and consequences, but damn, Shadows makes AC Odyssey damn near look like The Witcher 3 or Fallout New Vegas by comparison. So there you have it. Every single choice in Assassin's Creed Shadows is fake. You might as well just put the game in canon mode because literally none of the choices make any difference in the game at all. And it's a goddamn shame. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to Big Dan Gaming for more RPG videos and reviews. Big shout out to all the channel members for supporting my content. Until next time, this has been Big Dan. I should go.